What's up? What's up? Polo Sports Talking Entertainment back again with another one. Hit that like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my content and all of my videos. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about these two games right here and also talk about what's expected to happen going forward. Okay. Now, of course, my Sixers. We went ahead and we took care of business last night as we were supposed to, and pretty much uh, nail in the coffin, uh, taking the trash out fashion. Okay, and we should have did this a long time ago. Okay, but as always, we had guys on our team that were bullshitting. Okay, but let's tackle everything. All right, now I know everybody is giving credit to Joel Embiid, and I give credit to Joel Embiid in the fact that he played through the series through the thumb injury. Okay. Uh, One factor that really helped us out is that, with the exception of two players, Milton and Korkmaz, and that was really because they really didn't get that many minutes. Everybody was in the pluses, but all five of our starters uh were above 20 in the pluses or whatever. Um, Joel Embiid, of course, he led all scorers at 33, and had a very very good game on both ends because him and Tobias Harris, they led in the rebounding department. Uh, and I'm going to be talking about Tobias Harris here shortly. Uh, Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, man. Okay. Like I said, his dog leadership throughout the whole entire game and throughout this series has has been the story. Okay, because when Joel Embiid is not on, and he showed that throughout the entire season, and also when Joel Embiid is getting that feeling of cooking, guess who makes him look even better? It's Tyrese Maxey. People want to say it's James Harden. It's not James Harden. Even though James Harden, he played well last night, and as a matter of fact, he led everybody in terms of the pluses, and he had 15 assists, and he shot pretty good from the floor. The last couple of games, James Harden has played well. Okay, so I give James Harden his credit, but it's got to be consistent though. It's got to be consistent. He had 22, by the way, too. Uh, Danny Green had played well, of course. He has played great against the Raptors. Had a real good game, man, and I'm proud of Danny Green for coming back because Danny Green, man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. He was really disappointing me, especially at the beginning of the year. But the fact that we don't have Thibault, which is something that's not being talked about, or we didn't have him for the Raptors home games, it was something to be said, man. I was, they pretty much surprised me that they were able to get it done without Thibault, but we had other guys that could step up. And Tobias Harris, everybody wants to talk about Tobias Harris stepping up and all this other stuff. Here, Tobias is going to get his usual 19 and 11. Now, of course, when I was looking at the game yesterday, Tobias Harris, he made like some errors. Like, for instance, he made a mistake where he uh he rushed the shot. He didn't hit his shot, but he was able to come right back and steal the ball, and that's what I'm talking about. What's up with it, Stephen Green? I see you in the building. You say you give the 76ers a grade B. Everybody stepped up and beat 33 points and 3 blocks. Okay, but yeah, and see that's what I'm saying. See, I don't want. I know everybody's looking at Embiid. I know everybody's looking at Embiid, but this guy on the screen right here has been the most consistent. And to me, he's been the better leader because that's what we're gonna need. And don't forget, against Miami, Stephen Green, it's been Maxey the one that's been showing up. It's been Maxey the one that's been showing up against Miami and wants that smoke against the Heat. Okay, and that's what's going to carry us through. That's what's going to carry us through. Uh, let's see. Give me 1 minute. Don't forget earlier in the season he put up 28 against the Heat. Stephen Green. Earlier this season he put up 28 against the Heat. Okay. You know hold on. I want you to understand this too, Stephen Green. Over his hold on 1 second. Over his career, he's averaging 17 points against the Heat. Okay, which is, I mean, it's decent. You know what I'm saying? But if we're looking at this season, he played without the likes of Harden and Embiid this season against the Heat. He averaged, against the Heat, he averaged 21 points because the first game, that he had against them, he put up 27. He had 13 the second game, 17 the third game, and then the last game he had 28. So he'd be cooking against the Heat, absolutely cooking, and doing it on both ends too. Doing it on both ends because and listen, check this out. He his 3-point percentage against them, he's shooting over 40% against them too. So Maxey is always gonna get his buckets against the Heat, and I noticed against like the better teams, Maxey thrives. Maxey thrives. What's up with it, Ted Cox? I see you in the building. What's up with it, Florent? I see you in the building. Okay, you keep Florent. You got to come with something different, man. You always say Harden is washed. Harden is not washed. Harden is just lazy. That's what he is. He's lazy. Okay. Yeah, James Harden. He finally showed up. But he's got to be consistent. It can't be one day you show up and next day you don't show up. Tyrese Maxey has showed up against every team. And listen, I'm not. I'm sorry about that. In pretty much every game against the Heat, like if you score 13 points, but you're giving effort, maximum effort on defense, and then on top of that you're playmaking. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and throw you under the bus. But if you're shooting inefficient like James Harden was, then you deserve to get that smoke, of course. Okay. Um, you keep saying Harden is washed. Harden is washed. You said that the last a few streams ago. We listen. Harden isn't. He's not washed to the point where he can't. He just chooses not to. But when James Harden is playing, he could play. I never said the guy is trash or anything. And matter of fact, I used to like James Harden when he was in OKC. I liked him when he was in OKC, the humble Harden. But somehow, some way, his attitude and his ego and his inability to carry the teams in crucial situations, it has shown. Okay, if he listen, he could still score, but that's not what we need him to do. He's not scoring at the rate what he used to do. And really, like everybody calls him the best ISO scorer and all that. I never thought that because it's easy for a guy to dribble the ball, dribble the air out of the ball, and but that takes away from your team. So it's not a question about him scoring. That's what we have Maxey for. That's what we got guys like Tobias Harris for. That, of course, that's what we have Embiid for. And we got guys off the bench that could take care of that too, in terms of getting a quick shot. He had 15 assists. Hey, kudos to him and stuff. But the question is, are we going to be able to do that against Miami? We won't get swept if we play hard and everybody plays hard. You said he's one of the best perimeter scorers of all time. Yeah, in the regular season. In the regular season, he is. But what does that get you, though, Florent? He got him bounced out against the playoffs numerous of times. We don't have the worst bench in the league. We don't have the worst bench in the league. Go do your looking, man. Because I mean we're all the way down. We're all the way down. We're close. We're not the worst though. Matter of fact, we beat we beat a team that was worse than us in the bench. Because as I've said before, the best bench we're playing the best bench we're playing the best bench in the league, which is Miami. But we are. I mean, I give you the fact that we're like third to the last, man. We're because the Chicago Bulls and then the Raptors have the worst bench in the league. So yeah, if you want to look at it like that, yeah, and I've already cleared that up. Yeah, they got the number one bench in the league. Who averages 36 points per game? Not Harden. You said Polo and B needs to keep that same energy. Well, I hope he does. They're gonna go after that finger. You said Gorgeous is a nice sharpshooter. Yeah, he is. He's been that way, and he's a good defender. Harden does not average 36 points per game, man. Your stats are wrong, Florent. I don't know what you're looking at. You probably would have looked at that in terms of if you want to look at like career wise, then yeah. But I'm not. I'm talking about this season. Yeah, that was in 2019, dude. That was in 2019, and look where he ended up on the couch. So we got to come with something more recent. What is what type of success has James Harden had in the postseason? Okay, we got to stop with that. You're saying all these stats and stuff like that, but it's not carrying you anywhere. That's the reason why guys like Jokic are on the path for success. Jokic doesn't make any excuses. He don't, and he uses his team. He trusts his team. It's bad. You know, people call his team trash and G leaguers and stuff like that. He's still out there utilizing his team. Right. And what happened? He lost. You're talking about the same West. You're talking about the same. Oh my God. I'm glad you brought that up, man. Oh God. You like throwing those horrible games out. You said Duncan Robinson will be what's over the TikTok? You said Duncan Robinson would be a problem for the Sixers, especially with old Danny. Yeah, man. That's Thibault, guys like Thibault, Niang, not Tyrese Maxey's got his energy. I think Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and Yang and guys like that, they're gonna have their work cut out for them. Right. You're supposed to be this great scorer of all time, then why didn't you get it done? I don't want to hear any excuses about that. You know, LeBron James, he took down a juggernaut in the Golden State Warriors. What are we talking about here? Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, they just swept Kevin Durant, and they were supposed to. Boston was, I mean, Brooklyn was projected to beat them. So, what are we saying? And then on top of that, you got a 25-point lead. You blew a 25-point lead, and then you shot over 20. I think it was like over 27. Then you had a record number of turnovers in the playoffs too. Why not? Why you not talking that? Why aren't you bringing that up, Florent? It didn't make no difference if they were a 7 seed. They still had the Nets were still projected to beat Boston, and they got swept. The New Orleans Pelicans, they were an 8 seed. They didn't get swept. Denver Nuggets, they didn't get swept, even though they weren't no they were a 6 seed. So I mean, how many excuses are you gonna make for Harden? Are you a Harden fan? Yep, we play Monday at 7:30. We play Monday at 7:30. That's great, but the question is, are we gonna get it done? Okay, you're not a Harden fan. I don't know. Then you kind of capping for him a lot, man. All right, let's see. Ted, you said watch the Sixers play in Miami. Watch Miami, the Miami Strip Club. 2 for 1 special. Man, come on, Ted Cox, man. I don't even want to think about that because I know he's gonna be unfocused, man. He's gonna be very unfocused. He's gonna be very, very, very unfocused, man. And that's what we don't need. Harden needs to be locked in. If Man, could you imagine, man, if James Harden was focused and locked in, um, played both ends of the floor like he once used to, and on top of that, he was in shape. Yeah, I know, man. You should feel some pressure. You sitting here talking about you don't have nothing to prove. You got a lot to prove. You got a lot to prove, man. And I mean, you look at all these point totals and stuff like that, Florent. Dog, coming into this series, he was shooting 37%. You know what Russell Westbrook shot? Where everybody's talking about Russell Westbrook and his turnovers and stuff like that. Russell Westbrook was shooting 52%. James Harden was shooting 37%. Yeah, I mean, and so is Dame Lillard, and so is AD. You said that before too. I guess you keep coming with the NBA 75 like that means something. They they put Anthony Davis in the NBA 75. Does that mean that he's supposed to be there? No. Shoot, hey, you can call him Westbrook all you want to, but James Harden averaged more turnovers than he did. And on top of that, James Harden was shooting 25% from three. Guess what Russell Westbrook was shooting? 38%. He averaged more rebounds than him, and he played better defense than Harden, especially in the second half of the season. You said Harden had a nice mid-range game when he was with OKC and when Kevin McHale was his coach. Yeah, he did. Man, he played. Listen, if you notice and you go back and you go look, James Harden had arguably, in my opinion, he had his best season with Kevin McHale as a coach. You keep saying that AD is washed. No, AD, he just continues. He just can't stay healthy. Like, what do you call washed? Is where you could barely, like, you could barely move. You can't put up, like, you're not even relevant anymore. Washed is where, like, you pretty much on the bench, and they asking you to retire, but they're not doing that with AD. AD just can't stay healthy. When AD is healthy, he's phenomenal in terms of his skill, but he hasn't been the same. He up until what, I think it was 2 seasons ago, AD did not shoot under 50%, or wasn't under 50% for field goal range. But all they say is, this guy's washed. Okay, if you want to look at Harden as being washed, I can understand why you do say that, because in terms of his moves and stuff like that, everybody figures out what he's gonna do, and they already capitalize upon what he's doing and stuff like that. But that's because he's being lazy. Like, laziness and health, they can play a big factor in how a player looks. But I got I got listen, my heart wants to go with the Sixers, but my brain is telling me that Miami's gonna win because of their defense. They're top five in defense, and on top of that, they have the number one scoring bench in the league, and they are a good 3-point shooting team. They're good defensively because they got two-way Texas player, Jimmy. They got Bam, and they got PJ Tucker. And they got Kyle Lowry too. Kyle Lowry is a hawk on defense too. And they got guys that can knock them down. You got Struess, you got Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero coming off the bench, and that's part of the reason why they have such a good scoring bench, is because Tyler Hero was one of the front runners for for sixth man of the year. Now let's talk about the other game. Let's talk about the other game, man. The Phoenix Suns and the New Orleans Pelicans. The game that I've really been focused on because there's so many things, so many different dynamics in this series. What's up with it, True Viking? I see you in the building, Queen. Now, the Phoenix Suns, they barely escaped the Pelicans. Okay, barely escaped the Pelicans, but nevertheless, they still got it done. All right. Um, they beat them, of course, 115 to 109. Uh, they're talking about Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was sensational. I mean, he was absolutely sensational, and so was Aiden. Aiden had a monster game. You know, even D Book chipping in with 13, and because Aiden had 22 and 7, and then uh, Cam Johnson had a good game too. He had 13 too. But the guy that nobody is talking about, like I said, oh, and by the way, on the New Orleans Pelicans, on their side, it was Bi. He had a good game. They had a listen. They have a well balanced team because they had a total of six other guys besides Bi that were in double figures. Jones had 16. McCullough had 16. Alvarado, who got robbed, he got oh man, he got robbed in the car, but that's a whole nother story. 11. Murphy had 12. Larry Nance Jr. You're starting to see his game evolve. He had 15, and Valanciunas had 10. But it wasn't quite enough. A lot of the officiating, but like that example that I just gave, there's a lot of eyebrows that are being raised. But let me get to my guy for the evening. Now, Chris Paul. The reason why a lot of people are talking about him is because he had a very great night. He shot 100%. Okay, he shot 100%. But you know, this is my thing here. All right, and that's not taking anything away from him. Mikal Bridges had uh, a key play down the stretch. It was a steal and a dunk. And also Devin Booker hit a big shot too as well. But the reason why I mentioned Mikal Bridges as more, the most important guy during the season, or during this postseason, or during the series, is because Mikal Bridges had been the most consistent guy. You have to remember, Chris Paul had his work cut out when Jones was putting the clamps on him. Just the previous game, he had only had 4 points. And listen, I'm not going to bring up the media because the media don't even really like to talk about the Suns anyways. They don't give them, they just do. It takes guys within the LDBC, like of course the brother Hitman X, Like the brother, Too Raw for TV, Immortal Highlights, man. Immortal Highlights, man. The Suns fan. Shout out to Immortal Highlights. It takes guys like that to really put the Suns in perspective and really show how well they've been doing. Now he had one bad game, and that was the fourth game against them. That was the fourth game. Other than that, he's been in double figures. So, some people would call the first. I don't really call it because he doesn't really do that much shooting or whatever. The first game, I mean, he had 11. Then he had 19. The second game, third game had 17. Like I said, that fourth game he had 8. He had 31 just the previous game. Carried him when he needed, when needed there. He had 31. Then he had 18. You know what I'm saying? And they were playing shorthanded, of course. So that goes back to my point that I was saying about Mikal Bridges a long time ago. Everybody just wants to think that he's just a defender. Oh, that's all he could do. He can't do nothing else. That's why I call him a hybrid Michael Cooper. Because when you need him, okay, he'll show up. And Stephen Green, you said the New Orleans Pelicans are going to be great next year. Yeah. I don't think they'll be great with Zion. I think they play better without Zion. I mean, that's just how I look at it, man. Like, I could be wrong though. Zion could come in there, change his body, have a whole different mindset. Some for some reason though, to Stephen Green, I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of felt like I kind of felt like Zion, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I kind of felt like Zion was looking for them to lose in a way, just so that he could be like, "Yeah, see, I told you, you needed me." That's how I looked at it though. But they definitely, Willie Green, man. Shout out to Willie Green. Uh, it was very emotional after the game because these guys got a lot of history with one another. You got to think about it. Willie Green, he played with Chris Paul and he was on the Suns staff. He knows Monty Williams, and then of course Chris Paul, the city of New Orleans. When back in the days when it was him, Tyson Chandler, David West, and then of course Monty Williams. Monty Williams there. It's a lot of different dynamics, going on. That's what I was talking about. But in my opinion, Kel Bridges, that was the most important one throughout this series. He was consistent on both ends of the floor, and as well as Aiden. Now Valanciunas, he had his way sometimes with Aiden. In a couple games, especially on the rebounding end. But Aiden, he bounced back because Zion, I feel that he wants to go to a winning team, a championship team. Right. Well, I mean, they have. See, that's the problem, Stephen Green. That's the problem. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, I want to go team, man." Look, you haven't established yourself. Let's can we see how you look next season? All these dunks that you're doing in warm up and all that other stuff, that's not telling how you're gonna be after a rigorous what 30 games in. Then like you could look fine during the off season doing all this stuff. Nah, 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 nah. Nowhere near. He ain't. Nah. Steven. Nah. Absolutely not. He ain't no other LeBron James. LeBron James came in and had immediate impact. LeBron James came in showing that he was willing to take care of his body. LeBron James came in showing prominence that he could turn an organization around. Now, eventually, he became savage, and he messed up organizations and stuff like that. But he wasn't always hurt. You know, he didn't. You didn't have to look after him and worry about him falling asleep in film session. You didn't have. I mean, and on top of that, he lived up to. LeBron James lived up to his hype. Cause you said I mean from getting from team to team. Oh, okay. Well, not well. That wasn't LeBron's intent when he first came in. That wasn't his intent to bounce from team to team. He actually did as much as he could to stay there with Cleveland. But you know the history between him and Dan Gilbert and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know, and plus they had a lot of stuff going on internally. Stuff. You know, like the whole situation with Delonte West. I'm not gonna go down that road. I don't really like talking about that stuff. But um, and some guys they like talking about that stuff. They have a fetish for talking about, oh yeah, Delonte West and that situation and stuff. I'm not going to entertain that. And it's a lot of guys that don't like LeBron that much to talk about a situation like that. Me, I don't have anything personal about against LeBron, you know, and I guess that's why I like a lot of guys. Maybe they don't, they probably don't fuck with me or whatever. I really don't care. I'm not gonna sit here and go on no personal stuff just because I criticize him as a basketball player. Now, if we're talking basketball, that's completely different. But Zion hasn't shown any progression. What's up with it, Robert Bruce? I see you in the building. Um, Listen, LeBron came in and he lived up to his height. He lived up to his height. I mean, first game, 25 points, but you never had to worry about his body being taken care of. That's why he's just now starting to get injuries and stuff like that. I've seen LeBron uh, play through numerous of injuries. He's played through, you know, sprained ankles. I've seen him sprain his ankle at a 90 degree and he tied his shoe up and kept on going. The guy's durability is unreal. Zion's durability is nowhere near, nowhere near LeBron. He cares about his body in the off season. And although, he gets criticized for not, going to practice with the team and all that other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Uh, hey, he's still working on his conditioning and working on his body or whatever. He's still durable enough to play 19 seasons. I don't see Zion playing no 19 years in the league. Hell, a lot of these guys, I don't see them playing that long. A guy like Mikal Bridges, I can see him playing for an extremely long time, as long as he stays healthy. But Zion's not on that level. But if he wants to take that path like LeBron did, then go ahead. Matter of fact, Luca has that mentality that you're talking about. He kind of has that because Luca followed LeBron. He likes LeBron. LeBron is his favorite player. If you want to look at it from a savage perspective, okay, yeah, Luca has that type of mentality because he want to win so bad. He marched up in the front office. Uh, he got rid of Donnie Nelson Jr. You got Dirk in there, and then uh, what was it? Rick Carlisle, he left, and Michael Finley was moved up. You said a lot of young players think the off season is just to hang out, party, and have a good time. Off season is when you work on your skills. The most training camp is to hone on your skills. Yeah, that's facts, Robert Bruce. I like that. Hey, but see, listen, listen, and LeBron has even said this. He said this to young campers one time, and y'all can pull it up on YouTube. He said, "Man, it don't matter what you do last night and the previous night before that." He said, "Get your ass back in the gym." Like, and that's true. Listen, there's nothing wrong with partying, but is that gonna take away from your game? Like with James Harden, I don't want to hear that excuse about partying and stuff like that. Wilt Chamberlain party, Magic Johnson party, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar smoked weed and had sex with a lot of girls. But is it taken away from your game? Wilt Chamberlain slept with over a certain thousand number of women. Now, could it be factual? Maybe, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar vouched for him. Michael Jordan, he partied his ass off. He did his stuff on the low. Dennis Rodman partied his ass off. I don't want to hear none of that stuff about, oh yeah, well, man, he's going to strippers and all this other stuff. Do you know how many basketball players I've seen in strip clubs? Like, we had two teammates when I was playing. They lived in the club. Matter of fact, one of the guys was a bouncer because he took up an odd job. He was my partner, man. He he was like 6'10", was a giant, and he asked me to do security with him. He asked me and it was another guy on there, but this guy was real big. He was slim, but big and tall, but they only wanted guys that, that played physical contact sport like football or like basketball, or you were in the military of some sort. You had prior military experience because it takes a certain type of adrenaline to do something like that. You got guys, man, that you got to pat down, and when you patting them down, they might not like the way you patting them down, and they might try to fight you. And then also you got to think about a guy that you throw out because they don't like you or something like that. Well, he might come back and try to do something savage to you, and that takes a certain it takes a certain type of adrenaline. Like they would like if they see a guy that plays basketball, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I would like that guy, because you got to think about the type of injuries that happen in basketball. Not everybody can play basketball and be willing to be focused because of the psychological factors that go into the game. A lot of people, they get robbed of what they can do on the court because they're psychologically held back by the what ifs. So they're like, man, what if I sprain my ankle? Man, what if I break my wrist? What if somebody undercuts me and I break my neck? And not everybody can play with that type of psychological focus. You say young players just want $1 million check, don't care about skills. Well, that's changing. That's changing, Stephen Green. That's changing. Uh, you got to have that perfect balance. Absolutely. Now, let me get back to what Stephen Green said. You said a lot of young players. It's like that. I'm not saying, I'm not saying to be a saint, but nothing really happens after 2 a.m. Case in point, Mr. Ruggs. Well, let me address Stephen's first comment though. that's starting to change because you have some young, hungry guys in here, and the team aspect is starting to switch a little bit. Okay, now that the Lakers are going through all this turmoil, and y'all can hop in, man. I mean, y'all can hop in and flex your muscle if you want to, man. Uh, with all the stuff that's going on with the Lakers and their turmoil and stuff like that, and a lot of finger pointing and all that, it's making the other teams look even better. And then on top of that, you have organizations that really want to take care of their stars. That's why, like, I watch the show Ballers, with The Rock and everything, because it shows you the inside of how a lot of organizations. Yeah, they were talking about football and everything, but they had other athletes in there. But you you got to look at the world of professional sports to truly understand a lot of that stuff. And a lot of people don't. They just think that these guys just get out there and they play and all that other stuff. And it's not just that. There's the business side, and then there's the personal side too, man, that comes along with it. And if you take it personal, if you take your job really, really serious and you take it personal, you'll do everything that you can to help the organization. Like case in point, right? Michael Jordan, right? Listen, he wasn't the most liked person. A lot of people didn't like his style of leadership and stuff like that. But Michael Jordan knew business. He was a good businessman, and he was smart too as well. He had the smarts enough to know that, okay, this Chicago Bulls franchise is making more money off of me. Nike is making money off of me. So he was able to show that, okay, I'm going to start my own brand. And there were a lot of other players that were making way more money than Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan was the best player in the league, though. So he took it personal enough to go ahead and make some changes. And if you're unhappy with an organization or whatnot, this is this is what needs to be done, man. I'm saying if I was in the shoes of like Zion and all these other guys, man, don't sit there and hold out or anything like that, man. Go ahead and get out there and play. You see, a lot of guys, they go to a place like Golden State because, hey, what's up with it, Greenleaf? I see you in the building. A lot of players, they go to Golden State because they're like, okay, we're gonna be well taken care of over here and stuff. Now with the case like with KD, that ran its course. Okay, that ran its course because you had a situation where the media had got involved, and then of course Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, which they already have hashed it out, and uh, they did kumbaya and all this other stuff. You know that situation was a little different. Now I know a lot of people are sitting here. They're saying, okay, well, yeah, KD, man, KD's a punk for how he handled the Draymond Green situation. Okay, so does that make LeBron a punk too? Because he called both of them a bitch. And guess what? He ended up becoming a part of guess what? Clutch Sports. So and Draymond Green and ended up playing on the Olympic team with KD. I mean, you got to move on, man. You got to move on. Yeah, people gonna feel some type of way, but what are you gonna do? Y'all are gonna see each other regardless. Now, some guys have that mentality to like, you know what, we're gonna have to do it the backyard way before we go ahead and move on. But this NBA is different in comparison to the previous NBA, especially, and you know that because if you look at documentaries like the docu-series right now, if you're looking at the docu-series for the Los Angeles Lakers winning time, if you look at the Bad Boy Pistons, that documentary, and then you also look at the Last Dance documentary, you'll see that the NBA was completely different back then. Listen, Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer, they they got along great. I mean, yeah, they had their friction and stuff when they were in Detroit, and guess what? They got into a fight once Rick Mahorn started playing for the Sixers. I mean, and I mean they was ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because what's his name? Bill Laimbeer had fouled him, and uh Bill Laimbeer put the ball in Rick Mahorn's face, and Rick Mahorn knocked it away and was ready to fight. And then that's when the whole rumble had happened with the Sixers and the with the Sixers and the Detroit Pistons. I mean, that's how it was. And then with the Bad Boy Pistons, they used to have fights in the locker room and stuff. If somebody didn't get along and stuff, I mean, there was, it's two ways that you can handle it. And I think I don't have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like listen, you're gonna have disagreements, and sometimes it's gonna get physical, sometimes it's not. We were at a let me think. We were at a team dinner, and two guys got into a fight because one of the guys found out that he was fucking his girl, and he snatched him up right when he was eating dinner and everything. Got into a fight. It was in Golden Corral. I mean, what are you gonna do with a guy 6'7" and a guy 6'8" breaking up everything? Oh my god. Oh man. Like that was. I mean, yeah, and that's how that's how stuff happens. One of the players, one of the players, he mushed one of our assistants and mushed him so hard that he fell back into because we were doing like it was like a little meeting that we were having, and he was trying to explain some stuff, and we were watching some stuff on the screen and stuff. Man, he took his hand and he mushed the dude, man, and the dude was older. He mushed him, man, and he fell back against the projector and all that stuff, man. So stuff like that happens, and this was an assistant coach. And don't let me get on high school, boy, man. High school, it was fights all the time. Like guys would still be getting dressed. Guys would be right there in the middle, just fighting. So, but anyways, I went down a whole nother road. Oh Lord, here we go. Now, unfortunately, Scrub, we're talking about basketball right now. I will be talking about the draft a little bit later.
What up?
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. Been MIA for a
Long
bit.
time no hear from, man.
I know.
And don't pull a Jose talking about, man, I was here the other day. No, yeah, you was. Now, matter of fact, yeah,
it was
you were here yesterday.
about 2 weeks now, right? Give or take.
Huh?
something about like
Been about a month, man. You
I ain't gonna say all that now because that long. It's been a while. I know,
know. Nah, it's all good, man. What's up with it though?
man. The, Polo, what is up with your sixes?
Huh?
What is up with your sixes, Polo?
What do you mean? What's up with him? I mean, we won.
Yeah, when they should have won 2 games ago. They should have ended the series 2 games ago. It shouldn't have gotten to 6.
Look, you preaching to the choir. I've been telling them that it should have ended, and we honestly, Scrub, we don't really have a chance against Miami unless Tyrese Maxey plays his ass off. And of course Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid is gonna get his. But I mean, we listen. Miami has the leading bench in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, led by Tyler Hero, and on top of that, we're dead last. We're almost dead last in the league in our bench scoring.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, everybody's talking about Jimmy Butler. Everybody's talking about like Bam and all these other guys, and of course PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry, all these other guys. But what they're not realizing is that Miami is so well rounded, and they're very coached. Eric Spoelstra, man, will coach circles around Doc Rivers. But one thing that we do have in under our belt though, Scrub, we have Tyrese Maxey. He's averaging close to 22 points against the Heat, and we even beat them without Joel Embiid and without James Harden. And I already know what you finna say, but that was regular season though.
I was actually going to say, so Maxey got to come up big for y'all to win. Like he's got to be the key guy for y'all to have success against the Heat.
Right. I look if we look Miami. I've been talking about them the whole entire season. Okay, just like I've been talking about Boston. We're like they're so deep, Scrub, man, that they got guys that you don't even know, like a guy like Max Struz. Have you heard of him?
Nah.
But he's lighting up motherfuckers 20 points, and he's shooting they're 40%, man, from three, just lighting motherfuckers up.
Listen, that's what because sometimes you need that. Like, all right, you know who your key guys are. You know, down the stretch, this is what we're gonna go to. But there's times in the game, like before, like to get to that point. Hey, I need this guy off the bench, or even a starter that his role isn't necessarily to score. Like, hey, if this player gives me that kind of production, all right, we got to pull this out because this is something we don't usually get. Or even if you got a guy who you know can get hot, but like,
Mm-hmm.
but he gives you more points than you expected from him. You gotta cash that in because usually you have those kind of good games from a player and you don't win. You end up paying for that later at some point in the series. Like you end up going home.
Right. All right, man. Now I know you ain't just come up in here, man, just to talk about no basketball, man.
I
Let's get
actually
to
did.
nah.
I actually did. I was even going to talk about the draft. I mean, we can, but I wasn't even going to go there.
Nah. Hey, Scrub, man, come on, man. You my brother from another mother, man. I know how you rock, man. Hey, that boy Scrub, man, he gets off on football. I don't blame him though. All right, look at this, man. Um, I'm this draft because we still got the second round
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna happen. Now, Did you have some surprises, man? Because a lot of people were shocked that Debo didn't get sent. They didn't make that. The Jets didn't do anything in terms of picking up Debo.
I'm not surprised by that. Like I heard the reports, but I never got the sense that that was actually going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about didn't that didn't feel like, all right, this is actually going to happen, because I'm like, I don't know, just something that. Now I'll tell you what surprised me was AJ Brown going to the Eagles, and the Eagles only having to give up a 1 and a 3. I'm like, oh,
Right.
let's go. The Eagles getting down like that.
Well, this is what it is very intriguing about the entire draft, especially this first round. What's your biggest? What do you notice the most? Because you being a football head, Scrub, I noticed something that probably everybody in their mind was thinking, but they were kind of trying to bring some optimism about. What did you notice? Because I'm about to go ahead and tell you right off the bat what I noticed.
There's a few takeaways. One was that run on wide receivers. I'm like it felt like because some teams, their fan base is like, yo, we need a wide receiver, we need a wide receiver. And I thought the Eagles and from what I heard, like I was talking to some Eagles fans, they're like, yo, we need a wide receiver. So they ended up getting trading for AJ Brown. Was like, it felt like the Packers missed out, felt like the Cowboys missed out, but that ain't nothing new. Now, what was amazing was to see the run on defensive players early. Those first 5 picks being all defensive players, and then you got some.
Exactly. Hey, and I was about to say that because what that hadn't that hadn't happened since I think it was like 90 or 91.
A long time.
Yeah. So and see, listen, this is another thing I thought you were gonna point out too. There were a lot of I know you mentioned the wide receivers, but I saw a lot of, besides the D ends and edges, I
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of corners
Yeah.
because there were 2 corners that were picked in a row. It was Stingley from LSU, and then they got Sauce from
Yep.
Cincinnati, Sauce Gardner. Then a lot of offensive linemen, man, and dog. It was a number of corners, number offensive line, and DTs.
that amazed me. And then like 3 safeties went in the first round. Like the amount of DBs that went. Like you talk about the corners and safety, I'm like, dang, I don't remember seeing this many go in the first round in a long time. And then the O line, some of the guys that went in the first round, I'm like, considering how the hype that they were getting, I'm like, oh, that's surprising that they lost that.
Like who?
Like Devin Lloyd, I thought he would have got picked like in the teens. I did not expect him to get all the way down to 27, and the Jags pick him up.
Yeah.
Same for Linderbaum. I thought he would have went in the teens, and the Ravens picked him up
But
pick 4, I believe.
what about what surprised me, man, was Daxon Hill from Michigan, because he went to Cincinnati. And then I was also surprised by Lewis Sign, man, because he ended up going, he's out of Georgia. He ended up going to Minnesota, and that was from the Lions. They had that pick or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that they would have went. I thought he would have went a little bit, ahead of everybody. But you saw, that's all you saw was Georgia. And I told everybody, what did I tell you, Scrub, man? I said that whole entire defense
Yep.
On Georgia, they can all play in the league. All of them.
That's true. Like, well, I mean, when you people who follow college football and know how Georgia do, like that's no surprise. Everyone in the know knew like Georgia was going to get players drafted, but like, I will admit it was like it felt like there could have been more that went in this first round, but it's day 2. You got second and third round. Expect to see some more players come off now. Like I'm
And,
like I'm
and
not surprised with this, but the tight ends. I think today you're going to see a bunch of tight ends go off the board.
and another thing is too that a lot of people aren't looking at too. Now I want to say this too. There were what I think it was 10. No, it was 9. Wait, because it was the Ravens, the Lions, the Packers, Texans, Chiefs, Saints, Giants, Jets. They had selected multiple players
Mm-hmm.
in the first round of the draft, and they were saying that that hadn't been done since the '60s. Scrub.
There's a lot of trades, like moving up, down, teams kind of came back
Yeah,
first round
man.
later on.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, it looked like the Jets and the Giants. Y'all made true because y'all had the fifth and the seventh. The Giants did,
Mm-hmm.
and the Jets had the fourth and the 10.
And then they traded back into the first round at 26. They got a player. I'm like, dang, the Jets trying to gear up, load up now.
Right. But
Anyways,
let me ask you this then. Okay, this is the big question. Because I haven't talked to you about Debo.
mm-hmm.
Now, everybody's saying that Debo might go to the Ravens.
I don't think it would be a bad move. I just don't think it's exactly what the Ravens need.
Why not? They need a receiver.
No, they do need a receiver. They need a receiver, but with Debo, he's the kind of guy who he's a guy who does a lot, who does multiple things. He like kind of like what Robert Woods was doing for the Rams. Like they run him they're gonna run him on end around jet sweeps. They'll have him in the backfield. They'll have him line about wide in the slot. So with Debo, you're asking him to do a lot of things.
Right.
I don't necessarily think the Ravens need that kind of player. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't be a bad pick. I don't think it would be a bad move to get him. Just that I think they'd be better suited getting more of a pure receiver.
Because I mean, look at it like this. That would help their not only their receiving, but it would also help their rushing. But Debo says that he wants to be used like how he's supposed to be used. That's one of the problems. Everybody think it's all about the money. To a certain extent, it is because he wants that 25 mil, but
Mm-hmm.
also they want he wants to be utilized, not having so much weight put on him. That's why he was able to get that record, Scrub, 13 plus and
Mm-hmm.
300. And then also he eclipsed Jerry Rice's record with like 819 yards. Jerry Rice, I think he had 781 or something like that. I mean, this dude put in the work, bruh.
Yeah, he's, but that's also a lot of touches, and we say about the running backs, like after like when they get a lot of carries in the season, they end up not being
Hmm.
the same player. So
Right.
I think he was like, all right, yeah, I can do that, but but let's not do as much of that. Let's like of course players gonna want their touch, they want to get opportunities, but you want to get in spots where you're not taking a bunch of hits every damn play. Him lining up in
Yeah,
the backfield
exactly.
and getting the handoff, that's not promising for a long career.
Right. Another guy, man, that like I think is gonna be potent though. And I think he's being slept on, man. Okay, look, I know everybody like Trayvon Walker, man. I mean, the Jaguars, and I know they're gonna go for somebody to, to put around Trevor Lawrence. That's what they looking at. And look, he hella athletic. All them guys on Georgia was.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, man, they not looking at some of these other guys from Georgia, and this guy was on the line with him. That boy Jordan Davis going to Philly, bruh.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis was just as potent as Trayvon Walker. I know Scrub like, man, get off of Georgia, nigga. Georgia.
No, I
Hey,
get it. Like, because
damn, man.
it's something they need. Fletcher Cox is going to be a free agent after this season.
Uh-huh.
So you don't want to leave yourself with like you. All right, he goes. Then what? You're trying to look for someone else to replace him. Nah, get a guy you could play because they play a 4-3. So all right, get a guy who could play next to him. Or if you want to go with sub-pack, or you want to go with more of a 3 lineman set, you could do that too. He's going to take up, so that helps your run defense. And we know teams like to pass on first down anyway compared to what it used to be. So all right, he's going to take up attention. Or if Fletcher Cox ends up they double him, you could say, all right, hey,
yeah. That's a damn good point right there. Yeah, because I was thinking about Fletcher, man, because he wasn't really working out in Washington like that, because he was in Washington, right?
Fletcher Cox, no, he's been with the Eagles the whole time. His whole career he's been
Huh?
with the Eagles.
You said what?
Fletcher Cox has been with the Eagles his whole career.
I thought Fletcher. No. I'm getting mixed up with what's his name?
Deron Payne?
Yeah. So, huh?
One of Washington's players, Deron Payne or one of the other guys?
Yeah, man. Maybe I'm thinking about somebody else, because I know that what's it called was moving around a lot too. Melvin Ingram. You know,
Right.
like him, Melvin Ingram, man,
Yeah.
he played for three different teams this season.
Right.
He went for goddamn the Chiefs. No, he started out with the Steelers, then the Chiefs.
With the Chiefs. Like, dang.
Yeah, my fault, man. I'm getting mixed up. But
you good.
Then what's it called? I'm glad Chris Olive, he got picked up. That's a receiver, man. Maybe Jameis could work with him, and then also what's it called? Jamison Williams out of Alabama, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's but he, you know, he had that injury. He had that injury, but they still took a chance on him because he tore his ACL.
Yeah. Those injuries always like Adrian Peterson ruined it for a lot of people because they expect everyone to just come back right away. Like, people gotta understand. Not everyone's built like Adrian Peterson. He's different.
Yeah. Yeah, AP was a dog, but man, and then y'all got Thibodeau out of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yep.
What you think of him, man?
I don't know why people like. I end up hearing that no one had him linked to the Giants. I'm like, you do know the Giants needed pass rush help, right? Like if people didn't link it, like, so y'all just act like either y'all were in on it or y'all just act like y'all blind and don't.
They need to go back to that format that y'all once used to have. Listen, New York Giants, the New York Giant football team. Hey, y'all talk about them if you want to, Scrub.
Mm-hmm.
They always had somewhat of an identity. Matter of fact, no, they fuck that. They had an identity. It was a superb defense, man. Whether you
Yep.
talk about the linebacker, whether you talking about hard hitting for a certain extent, even going back to with Seahorn, and then Oma, I can never pronounce the name. Oma, whatever the name is, and then of course Strahan. Yeah, and then you have Barber, of course. On y'all end, y'all had a decent running game. Then y'all had receivers that were reliable and everything. They always had they could be feared, and I think they trying to get back to that because defense was y'all calling card at one point. Now it's like you look at the goddamn Giants. It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be easy work, and I don't think they want to look at they don't want that team to be looked at like that no more.
Yeah, bro, like the shift in the team. It's like because
Uh-huh.
yeah, like what, like about that 2009, 2000, like you started seeing the shift go from defense to offense, but after that second Super Bowl, it just felt like the Giants started like they just struggled finding an identity. Like one year they'd show, all right, we're good defensively. Then another year, like, all right, we got the offense, but the defense ain't. So since then they've never been able to find a an identity. Like, all right, this is who we are. This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna call it a day.
So
Now, what are you gonna say?
no, do you okay? We moving into round 2 and 3. All right, man. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that where you think Malik Willis is gonna go? Because everybody looking at Malik Willis and Kenneth Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Where you think they gonna go, man?
There's still teams that what I saw from at least looking at the first round, no one was going to trade up for a QB. Now day two, it won't cost you as much, so maybe that changes. But all right, Seahawks still have questions.
Damn it, Scrub! I thought you gonna say the Tennessee Titans, man.
No, I mean, listen,
Cause they trying to move on. They trying to move on from Tannehill. Look, Tannehill is on
they do
NI.
need to move
You
on
know
from
that.
Tannehill. I agree with that.
Uh-huh.
But like it's going to be a question of who, like, all right, because it's not, remember the Titans aren't the only quarterback needy team. Then the question becomes, all right, is someone going to wait, or is someone going to trade up to try to beat that team to whatever quarterback is available? Because you talk about the Seahawks, they still need to figure out who they're going to have a QB.
Right.
Sorted themselves out last night with their pick, but like Carolina Panthers are another team that need a QB. So there's still teams that need a QB that are in that spot. Is like, all right, is someone going to take that jump, or are we just going to wait and then we're going to see? All right, this is what's going to happen. Like, all right, this team picked this guy and then it falls from there. Now, I don't know what the Titans are going to end up doing, because now that they gave up AJ Brown, they ain't got they don't really have that number one guy now. They need to fix the O-line as well. And Tannehill isn't that dude. Like, really, you got backs, but you got a good QB and you ain't got no wideouts, no dynamic wideouts. I should say that.
I thought y'all, because y'all got y'all got that what 30, I think it is that 36, the 36
Yeah.
pick. They trying to say that y'all probably gonna go for a corner. They were projecting what's that guy, man, out of Washington, Gordon, Kyler Gordon. But see, the thing about it is they looking at the whole Bradbury situation.
Right.
So what you think about how you think they gonna go ahead and try to take that risk or what?
I don't think Bradbury. There's anything that's happening with Bradbury until after the draft. Like I kind of mentioned in a video like about a week ago. I'm like, earlier this week. Like they ain't gonna do
Yeah.
nothing. They
Hey,
got too late.
Scrub, man, you know what? That's man, I'm glad you mentioned that, bro. Let me stop there for a second. I ain't mean to cut you off, bro, but nah, man, I haven't been getting, man, I have not been getting, have you been getting my notifications?
Nah, I haven't get, like
Man, see, dog, look, see, I told y'all, man, I told y'all to Scrub and everybody else. Listen, man, it's very important that we check on each other because I'm like, I know you be saying like, man, why did Polo keep saying that? Like, I haven't heard from him in a while. I had to say the same thing to TJ this morning. TJ was like, I did a video yesterday talking about boxing, talking about who was it? Shakur Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he didn't get no notification. Then I've got people emailing me saying I had one guy email me and ask me if I'm still on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still on.
Nonsense.
I'm like, you got to go, but no. What I'm saying is, that I'm gonna start going it because it's like usually I get a notification, you know, about I'll see Scrub, you know, whether he, you know, he on a bicycle or you know what I'm saying, or even with Jose, I had to go check for Jose, and I'm like, damn, why they doing this? It never used to be like that. So now YouTube want to start acting funny now, man.
They do.
But make sure y'all go subscribe to the homeboy Scrub Deal. My bad, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead though.
Nah, you good. But yeah, like because the Giants, even whether they trade Bradbury or not, you can't have with how the league is now, can't have enough good cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if they went cornerback because it would help personally. Like Bradbury, I'm cool with. I know they got Jackson. I'm not too high on him, but it is what it is.
They got Desmond Ritter.
Like they got bodies. But the biggest thing with Bradbury is that cap number. They're trying to shave that off. Right. But here my question, because I didn't talk about this, but I was like, if they do draft a corner, can they? How realistic is it that they'll be able to trade Bradbury? Like, I don't know. Like they might have to cut. They might have to cut him because I'm like, who's going to trade for him after they draft the corner? Depending on how high they draft him and whatnot. But because I wouldn't be mad if they got a corner. I wouldn't be mad if they picked up another pass rusher lineman either.
And it's looking like from hold on one second, Squirrel. Hold on one second. Yeah, bro. No. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna just get out to it. It's all good, man. Hold on one second, Squirrel. Let me handle this real quick. Hold on one second.
Copy.
All right, I'm back, man. My bad. All right, now I know that a lot of linemen are gonna get ready to go in the third round. There's gonna be a lot of linemen or whatever, man. They talking about oh boy, man from Oklahoma, Nick Bonito. I paid attention to what he had to do on Oklahoma, and then there a whole bunch of they got to do in Ingabar from South Carolina, and then Thomas from San Diego State. Those were some of the guys because man, I love defense, man. So I want it. It was interesting to see how this is gonna be. This whole draft, man, is flooded, absolutely
Yeah.
flooded with linemen, man.
There's a lot of players to fill a roster in this draft.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to see the first tight end come off the board because I think once that happens, that's when we really going to see all these guys start getting picked up.
let's see. Hold on, because it's gonna be interesting to see. Let me see something real quick. Let me see. Because I thought that there was. Yeah, man, you right, Scrub, man. Okay. Jelani Woods, and he coming out of Virginia, but that's probably not going to be until the third round, and that's the 90. They're projecting it. It might be the Bengals that might get him. Jelani Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see anybody? Do you see anybody before that they could possibly? Because that's the only one that I see is Jelani Woods. I don't see anybody because you did say tight ends. I just want to make sure you.
Isaiah Likely. I've been seeing his
Oh
name.
yeah. Oh yeah, but oh yeah. Hey, Dokic from UCLA, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Then he might go in the 50. Especially if the Cowboys might try to get him. Oh yeah, and McBride. I forgot about McBride too from Colorado State.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's gonna be some more. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot going on in the second round, Scrub.
Second and third round, you like tight ends are gonna go. What?
Right. Yeah, tight ends, man. Yeah, he gonna go second round, and now how they gonna do, I don't know, but we'll have to.
Depends on what teams they go to.
Right. If they go if he goes to the Cowboys, it might be a good move. And I'm talking about Dokic.
I mean,
McBride.
they need a dynamic pass catcher. Like Schultz is okay, but he's more of just like a move the chains kind of guy. He's not gonna create those big plays.
Right.
If you talk about a guy like Jelani Woods, like I've seen some stuff say that he'd be good, like he'd be a good compliment in Atlanta with the Pitts.
So,
mm-hmm.
who you think? Because I know you mentioned the AJ. So you thinking that the AJ Brown trade was the biggest winner though? Because some people felt like the biggest winner was the Jets.
The Jets did well with what they got in the first round. They got 3 players that'll give them immediate impact. Whether you talk about at least with their pass rusher, he'll be a rotational guy, and then you got a wide out. He's going to be expected to start, and the corner, same thing. So now whether they all pan out or not, it's a different story. But you got 3 good players.
Yeah.
You talk about the Giants; they got guys they needed and had success. and that'll help them.
Man, Jets, man, they trying to make some moves, but man, Jets might be looked at as yeah, whatever, man. But man, Gardner, and you got
Because with
Johnson.
the Jets, it's like this part of the like when it comes to the offseason, like all right, the Jets win the offseason. This is nothing new.
Yeah,
We just wait for the regular season. Like, all right, is this going to translate? And more times than not, it doesn't.
yeah, it look good. It look good on paper, but
Exactly. But we all know paper don't play.
paper. But hey, paper or pigskin? That's what we need to know. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
paper. You know how they say paper or plastic, paper or pigskin. Look,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can do all this drafting. All this, all this hype, man. Let's see what happens when you step on that turf.
Right. But I look like the Jets did well. The Eagles getting AJ Brown, because now you look at the two wideouts they now have. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Guys who can create mismatches because they can play multiple positions as far as the wide receiver position. And they run routes, they can get down the field. Like there's really not anything they can't do. You just got two different body types, but they could give you a bit of everything.
Right.
And considering how this division, the NFC East is currently, it's like, listen, Jalen, all the Eagles need to do is just run the ball some more. They commit to the run game some more. You got play action. The Eagles could run this division for years to come.
Right. Yeah, man. I know, because Hurts is gonna bounce back, man.
Like he had a bad playoff game, but you saw the difference between from his rookie year and how he played last year. Like, all right, this guy's progressing. This guy's getting better.
Right.
So if he continues improving, it's like, okay, they got something now.
Who you think gonna have a better year though, him or Fields next year?
Probably him, because he's in the same system. You got him another weapon. Like I think that's not to say Fields won't have success, but I think with the continuity and getting a guy like AJ Brown, this will help out the Eagles. This will give him another jump, so he'll have a better year than last year.
Right. Yeah, man. Man, it's gonna be crazy. I got an echo or something. But, hey, bro, man, I appreciate you pulling up, man. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna shut this one down, man. But hey,
man.
all y'all that's listening, make sure y'all go subscribe to the homie Scrub Zero, man. Y'all gonna be planning on going live for the second and third round of the draft?
I think I'm gonna do that a little later. I'm gonna go live. I don't know how long I'll be on, but I'll go live to start it off and at least get through the second round.
Yeah, everybody. That's how they pretty much do. A lot of people just do the first round and shit. You know what I'm saying? But
and then
man,
there's still the NBA playoffs, so I'm gonna be talking about some of that too.
Oh yeah, man. Because the New York Knicks, man, who they play?
Man, fuck the Knicks. I'm tired of them.
I just wanted to hear you say that, man.
Fuck Brooklyn too. I'm disappointed in them mums as well.
Yeah, he even more mad at Brooklyn.
Oh my god. I'll save it for another time. But KD, I'll just leave it at this. He gotta be better than what he's shown.
Man, I told people, man. You know, man, Lou was talking about it was gonna go 7 games. I said it's not finna go 7 games, man. Not the way Boston playing. And I told people, man, Boston was not nothing to be played with, man. They had a superb defense, man.
Listen, shout out to the Celtics and the Celtic fans because they got something. They got something going on.
Right. Okay. So who you think is gonna make it to the finals, or it's just still too early to tell?
You see, I thought the Nets could get there, but that ain't happening now. But so this between the Celtics and the Heat, I don't think the Bucks are gonna do it. I don't think the Bucks are gonna get that out. I think they're gonna lose in the series against the Celtics.
Oh man, yeah, because they need Middleton, huh?
I think even with Middleton, it's gonna be the Celtics. I just from what I now of course that depends on the Celtics continue to play the way that as well as they have, but I'm like I don't know if the Bucks can handle that. Like Giannis will be fine, but who else is going to come up big for them?
Well, they got other guys that's been stepping up lately. They had Grayson Allen, even though I don't like him. Um, he's been scoring a lot lately, and then of course they got Brook Lopez who can shoot it. Bobby Portis has been stepping up,
Yeah,
and then Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday has really been hooping too as well. So they do got some guys on there, man. That's really gonna do their thing. But of course, the end game is Giannis, and it's gonna be interesting to see how Ima Udoka neutralizes that. How he finds because he found a plan to neutralize KD. Now he's got to find a
bully
plan.
KD.
Yeah, bro, pretty much. Yeah, he bullied. Yeah, neutralized one of what he put the clamps on him, with the exception of that with the exception of that last game, whatever.
But even with that big performance, like who ended up not having a great game? Bruce Brown.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, Bruce Brown, the previous game before that, man, shit, they was talking about Bruce Brown like he was a goddamn all-star, man. But the other, and this was another thing that I got on Nash about, and a lot of people feel like Nash should be gone and all this stuff. Listen, why didn't you play Blake Griffin more time? And he was the one that was making. I know it was a small, little time that he did in terms of the impact and stuff. He was drawing charges. This guy was out here bringing energy and hustle.
I think it's just time to admit that Steve Nash was not ready to be a head coach, particularly of this. And the Nets made a mistake when they got rid of Kenny Atkinson, bringing in Steve Nash. Then you brought in Mike D'Antoni, and we know his system does not get you to the finals. So, it's not surprising. Maybe I guess we thought, at least I did. I'm like, this talent's going to overcome a lot of these like the Nets will overcome whatever Steve Nash's weaknesses are, but they couldn't because while KD didn't play well, Steve Nash did not coach a good series either. So your top player doesn't play well, your head coach coaches poorly. That's the formula for getting swept.
You should be happy because the league is showing first and foremost the ratings are through the roof without your nemesis LeBron, and
Good,
on top of
as it
that,
should be.
and on top of that, man, the league is also showing that they don't need KD and they don't need LeBron in order to carry this thing, because guess what? People are still intrigued. Guess what, man? This series right here, the Bucks and the Celtics. Man, like I said, I made a video yesterday. This feels like the Eastern Conference Final, and then we only in the second round.
Well, I think if Boston and Miami advance, I think that would be a good series too. I think
Yeah,
that's I think that'll be an interesting series.
Yeah, man.
I mean, listen, if the Sixers do it, that'd be nice. I just don't. I just do not trust the head coach, and I do not trust James Harden.
I knew you was gonna say that, man. Yeah, hell no, don't nobody trust James Harden, man. But look, he's been playing. I want him to keep it up because he had a decent game last game. He led everybody in pluses. He was a plus 38. He led everybody, and on top of that, he had 15 assists. So okay, if James Harden could do that, man, stay with it. But man, being in Miami.
We know what's about to. We know what's about to happen with James Harden.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I know Scrub, man. He about to take a vacation in Miami anyway, so he gonna be over there with Pitbull, man, drinking some margaritas. You know I like it. You know I like. No, let me stop, man. He over there with that reggaeton and shit, man. I was like, damn it, Scrub, man. Why didn't you invite me? Man, I want to get on. Man, I want to be able to go on a boat, man. Take a boat to Cuba real quick, man. Damn. Nah, man. I appreciate Scrub stopping through, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. You know how we do it right here, Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment. And I'll get at y'all later, man.